Hello, 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 my beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of The Motherload. I am your host, LWB. Today's podcast is brought to you by Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Spreaker.com, and a WWB production, with music by Mr. Andrew Riley. Well, folks, welcome back. It gives me great pleasure today to introduce you to Miss Raevin LaRue. Raevin is a St. John native who relocated to Toronto to pursue a career in film and television. After several years of working in commercials and independent film as a production assistant, she decided to focus her attention on highlighting the incredible talent that exists in Toronto. She launched Raevin LaRue Media in March of 2020 with the intention of giving better representation to Canadian entertainment. So welcome, Raevin. Welcome. How are you today? Hey, how's it going? How are you?
I'm blushing from that awesome introduction.
Well, it's all you, girl. It's all you. Before we talk about your wonderful media company that I can't wait for audiences to learn more about, I just wanted to say, obviously, globally, we are all dealing with COVID-19, and I wondered how the pandemic was affecting you personally at this time.
Well, it's definitely given me time to do a lot of reflection and sitting with myself, and it's changed my perspective on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. It's prompted me to question my Canadian status and my attitude towards that, and also all this time with myself has just made me get real deep, do a deep dive in my psyche and my feelings.
That's right, and I think you are not alone in that. And have there been any discoveries that you'd like to share? Anything that you feel you've come out on the other side in a more positive way about? I mean, it is only just under 2 months for a lot of us, but any new enlightenments that you'd like to share?
You know what? I say this comedically, but it is real, and I'm sure it's real for many people. But really, channeling and thinking about my anxieties and the source of them. Even with this company, like my anxieties towards being a good leader and what's that going to take, and all these insecurities I have as a woman, as a Black woman, as a person.
Beautiful.
And starting this company, and just how these anxieties may affect, or are they affecting my leadership, and all of this annoying stuff that we can't avoid. So
I love it.
Not sure yet, but I'm working towards getting to the other side.
I love it. And what I appreciate about what you just shared, as raw and honest and authentic as that was, there are so many of us who can relate to having our inner voices be amplified during this time. So bravo to you for listening to yourself and for looking at yourself in the mirror and asking yourself those questions in all honesty. And with that, I will ask you to link that personal response, which was so beautiful, thank you, with the professional perspective in which you are going to have to go forward. So what does leadership mean to you, basically? Because you did tap into that a moment ago. So when you're looking at yourself, and you're saying, hey, this is my bag of, Raevin. This is my bag of Raevin that I come to the table with, and I am dealing with how to shake her up and move her forward. When you have that personal perspective of who you are and you're growing through that, as we all are, I wondered if you could share with us how you then take your idea of leadership and personalize it. So I'm asking you to think about who you are as a professional leader in the midst of that. Yeah. What does that mean to you so far?
You know what? That's a really good question.
Okay. Thank you.
Leadership, for me, is honesty. So for myself, as Raevin, who's dealing with these insecurities and these anxieties, it has been about getting honest with myself about where they're coming from and asking myself, is this going to create a bias in my leadership? And in a lot of ways, it has and it will. So for me to be a good leader, it would mean that I have to be honest and real about what I expect from my projects, my company, my team, but also to gain more perspective of why I feel a certain way so it doesn't affect my business and my leadership. So I guess if I'm answering the question well,
yes.
it would be to ensure to keep myself in check and allow people to have space to be vulnerable and speak freely in leadership. Because I know with myself, I'm very hard on myself, and I don't allow myself to be vulnerable all the time. It's hard for me to sit in what I feel and my stresses and all of these things. So that could definitely affect my leadership, and I don't want that to happen. So I guess the most important thing for me to be a leader is to make sure that I keep myself in check so I don't create biases with my team and all the projects that I work on. Yeah.
Well, we are going to be so lucky to have you in that leadership role, because what you're talking about is your humanity, and you're coming to the table with a great humility through that awareness, that self-awareness, and checking yourself at the door. No, is very, very key, and a very keen way to approach this position that you've put yourself in, which you so deserve. So bravo to you on that response, which is beautiful. You're well, no, you're basically giving us a definition of what it means to stay woke, honey, right there. That's what it's about, you know? That's what it's about. And so, absolutely. So let's talk about your production company and your series entitled 6 Minutes With. I do not want to give it away. I want the audience to hear from you. Tell us, what do you have in store for us?
Well, we'll talk about 6 Minutes With first. I'm really excited for this series.
Nice.
It'll be available on Instagram.
Okay, so what is it? What is 6 Minutes With?
It's a series about highlighting the wonderful talent that exists in Toronto. We are so criminally underrated in terms of what actors, musicians, designers, all of us can do. You know, we're overlooked, we're not celebrated as much as we should be. So I wanted to develop a series that spent that time getting to the center of all this talent, what we have to offer. So yeah, that's the cliff notes on, you know, what this show is about.
Beautiful.
And I gotta tell you, the roster for season 1 is just blow you out of the park.
Woo! Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Good. Well, I won't ask for any spoilers because, you know, even though we here at the Motherlode are huge fans of you and what you're up to, we will not spoil the juice and the excitement that you have coming. So let's keep that in the bag. But overall, the media company, as we've already said to our audience, really does want to highlight the talent in Toronto. So you were born east of here, and so how did you come to focus your attention and your passions on the city of Toronto? What was it about Toronto as a young artist in the making yourself and producer in the making yourself? What was it about Toronto that drew you and wanted you to focus? Yeah.
6-year-old me, Sailor Moon, and then 10-year-old me, Degrassi, okay?
Oh!
Looking at Toronto was like, I want to be in Toronto. This is where I'm going to go to make it happen.
Nice.
Like, this is the spot. And Sailor Moon and Degrassi, like, that's a whole episode for another day, but they have special places in my heart, okay? Like, I could go on for a long time about those shows. But it definitely, from the age of 6, I'm like, I'm going to Toronto, and I'm going to make it there.
Awesome.
So when I came here, I was, you know, I'm not going to lie, very disappointed in how underdeveloped our industry is.
Mm-hmm.
So it became evident to me in 2 ways. You know, our current mediums celebrate Hollywood and American movie stars way more than Toronto-based talent and Canadian talent.
Okay.
And the lack of investment in publicity and promotion, there's just no love really respect for Toronto talent or overall Canadian talent. I mean, look at how many people we've lost.
Right.
Gosling, Reynolds, McAdam, Sutherland, the list goes on.
Right.
So I came here and I'm working these projects that truthfully probably have nowhere to go.
Right.
So I can get into the union and I can be on bigger projects, possibly American projects or Canadian projects that will most likely, you know, have nowhere to go and will get no love from our own mainstream mediums. So here I am like, yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'm not doing that. I want to make sure that if I'm going to be in this industry, I'm going to contribute in a positive way and inspire another young kid or boy or girl, whoever, from a small town to say, you don't have to leave Canada to make it. You can come to Toronto and the resources are here.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Let's peel back the onion a bit. Why do you think that is that Canadian talent is exported? Because we need to hear more voices from within the nation speaking as you do, and it is a rarity. So why do you think that is? What's your assessment about that, you know?
There's a lot of reasons, but I'll give you, I think, the leading one, and it's we just don't have a market that is worth investing in. There's no growth in our entertainment industry. And we have this, like, there are a lot of great shows out now, but the investment in promoting those shows, exporting those shows, is not there.
That's right.
And then the other thing is that we don't celebrate love for our talent here.
Right.
There's so many great Toronto-based actors, just in Toronto, who have contributed so much to Canadian cinema and television.
That's
who
right.
can't get even like $1 million for a project.
That's right.
When you have your grants that won't even give you enough to make a halfway decent independent film, because they know that this is going to go nowhere. That's speaking volumes. They know there's no growth in this market.
You are right about that. You are right about that.
There's a lot of reasons, but I think I'll just kind of focus on that. And when you keep perpetuating this, like, Hollywood and American stars are better than Canadian stars, your audience believes that. They undercut it, and then they don't feel the need to invest their time or trust in our projects.
Right. So do you think it's changing a bit? Because I have a twofold response to that assessment, which I definitely agree with. Do you believe that when you speak of the word audience, that needs to be an audience within the nation? Because, for instance, Canada's Film Day, for instance, is an annual affair that takes place, and today happens to be that day, April 22nd, actually. And so do you believe that the talent and the products and the material needs to be exported at the same level and have the internal support? In other words, does it have to have that duality? Because, for instance, in America, that's our greatest export, is our culture, our film, our television. Do you think that the Canadian medium needs to match that? How do we change that is what I'm asking. And do you think it needs to be from within, or can it also be that you then...
Definitely from within.
Okay.
I think listen, I'm all here for exporting.
Right.
Our content, our talent, whatever. But if we export, we know what happens. It's going to have to be one of the 5 American major studios that supports our exportation, essentially, if we want to earn money. We'd be fit to sit here and say that, independent film is a profitable business without having the support of a major company, which are all American. So that's nuts. But I do think that we can develop an industry if we do work internally, and if we also follow the rules of how to create 4-quadrant films. You mentioned culture. Well, what is the culture of Canada? We don't even understand that. What is our identity here? We don't really have honest conversations about what it really means to be Canadian. Because if we were interested in making shows that appeal to all Canadians, we'd be telling all Canadian stories beyond profitable white demographics, if I'm being totally honest.
You know what? You are getting a huge round of applause for that. Hold on. Like, seriously? I don't think I have heard it put better than that in the 10 years that I have been on this soil. You just encompassed the entire issue that I, as an American, born and bred, who's now dual, could never have said from my own mouth, because it needs to be heard from within. And I love that you just said the conversations that we're not having is part of the issue. Bravo. Because I agree, and I think most people listening would agree and will agree when they hear this. And I think you have tapped into a very deep rooted and very special need that you will fill, and that people will be so happy that you have done so. And it will be so refreshing to begin those conversations, because I can tell you the hunger is there. So
Absolutely.
you know me well enough by now to know how much in your corner I am. And I am so glad to have had this opportunity to speak with you today, to give our audiences just a taste of what you are about and what is to come. And I want everyone to be excited and to follow you and to wait in anticipation with bated breath for all of the amazing things that Raevin LaRue is going to be doing for you all, folks. And not just in Canada, folks, worldwide, she is coming through. So as I always say, folks, thanks for checking in with us. Thanks for listening. Raevin, thanks for your trust, for your sharing. I am going to be signing out now, but it's not for good, folks. We are always here. As I said, find all of these episodes and others on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spreaker. I am here, always LWB, but signing out for now. Just until the next time we get together, you stay good, you stay positive, stay healthy, stay well, and I'll see you soon. I'm LWB. Be good.